Before I get started, just a few things. So, you all can register for the BEM talk for the whole day today and tomorrow, with the free limited access. I think it's for everybody. Some of you are actually participating in SAFE, so you are there already anyway. So I mean, so far I didn't hear anything from anybody that taking leave from me. So I'm not so sure what is going on over on the SAFE side, but I mean Unima SAFE is also part of it. And yeah, so you all can just, the link that I sent to Anna yesterday, you all can just register and then register it and then put your email address and all that. I think they will sort of like bring you to the room or something like that. I am also not very sure because I am a speaker, so I have another link, you see. So the participants one, you can go by the link that Anna gave you all yesterday, okay? If she hasn't given it to you, you have to ask her for it. Anna, have you given it to everybody? Anna?
Yes, I did.
Okay, huh? All right. So yes, so yeah, she's already given it to everybody. So just join. I mean, like if you the timetable, I think I've also attached. So you'll take a look. Anything you find interesting, just go and have a browse through, listen to the talk and all that. Yeah, just enjoy yourself, lah. I mean, or tomorrow afternoon you have no class, then you pop by tomorrow afternoon also can. It's not something that is compulsory for this course or whatever. It's because I am involved, so I thought I will inform everybody on this lah. Later on, as when you're working as an engineer, then this is going to be something quite significant for you all lah, huh? Okay, and the other thing is about the assignment. I have been receiving numerous emails. Okay, numerous emails. It's like, oh, I reply email until I'm really, really tired. So basically, I just want to let you guys know that this is an assignment. And assignment basically means that I've already taught you, I've already go through the classes with you, and you have the knowledge and the requirement. And if you're not sure about the requirement, you can come during the class and ask me, you know, on the requirement. Like, for example, you're not sure about this, you're not sure about that. Yes, you can come and ask. We can talk about it in the class, okay? But I'm getting a lot of emails. Number one, getting me to approve their project. I already say in the class last week, I'm not going to approve any project. Why should I be approving any project? The requirement is given to you. The requirement is given to you that your project must have about 12 layer 1 major activities, layer 1, okay? So WBS has minimum of 1 to 2 layers, maximum of 3 to 4 layers. So if you guys are doing anything between 2 to 3 layers, actually it is completely fine, okay? That is the requirement. You have to fulfill that requirement. If you're only doing 1 layer, then something is not right lah, okay? And the first layer that you do, which is the major activities, they must be about 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 activities, okay? So if your project is so small that you can't even fit in 12 activities, 12 major ones, what more to say from the 12 major ones, you want to break it down into smaller activities, then that means that project is not the right one, okay? So that will be the judge of what project is the right one, what project is the wrong one. I don't want to approve projects, because if I approve projects, when you hand it in to me later, and obviously, when I say approve, means that yes, you can use it. But then if the marks is not as good because of multiple reasons, you tell me later on and say to me, Dr. Ting, you approved the project already. You didn't tell me that it's too simple, you know? So, I mean, that is not very fair to everybody, you see? So, and the other thing is, a lot of you are starting to give me this, can you approve and comment on my work breakdown structure? There is 60 over groups here if we're talking about A-works. And everybody is messaging me to approve their work breakdown structure and to check their work breakdown structure. That is not the right way to go, okay? That is absolutely not the right way to go, okay? If I approve your work breakdown structure, like I say, it is too much to comment on every single person's work, you see. And if I spend time commenting on approving on every single person's comment, then later on, if you don't get the marks that you think you should be getting, you come and ask me and say, you approve my work breakdown. You approve my work breakdown. I don't want that. I don't need that. You see? So the best way is don't email me to approve projects. Don't email me to approve your work breakdown. Don't say that you are not sure about your work breakdown and you want me to comment on your work breakdown. If you want me to comment on your work breakdown, I can, but not through emails. You must do it during class. Okay? So now until like 10:30, I give you 15 minutes. Anybody wants to share screen? Every class, I will give you about 15 minutes of assignment time. Anybody who wants to share screen and show me the work breakdown, I can comment, but I cannot approve or not approve, you see? Because assignment is given to you, I will be giving you marks at the end of the day. I cannot pre-approve anything, you see? So if I pre-approve anything, that means the rest of the other people will be like, not fair if they didn't ask me for pre-approval. I mean, they are just like diligently trying to do the assignment, finishing up the assignment. You know, you don't want to do this extra thing of getting pre-approval, you see? So follow the procedures. Just show me your work here. And when I comment, you know, on somebody's work, I'm sure another 30 groups or 20 groups also have the same problem. You listen to the comment, and then you will realize that you are having the same problem, you see? So that will be killing many birds with one stone, okay? So don't get me to pre-approve anything, okay? And the other thing is I want you to know is for work breakdown structure is the way that you describe the project. You describe your project. So it's like, how much do you want to talk about in your project? So it's like a very simple, very nice way, very simplistic way of describing your project through different layers. So the standard is basically you ask yourself, what are the works involved? What are the major works involved? And then after you finish up the first layer, you ask yourself, within each of the work, like let's say first layer, like number 1 activity, site clearance or general and preliminaries. You ask yourself, is there anything else that I need to do within general and preliminaries? And that will be your layer 2. So if let's say your layer 2 is within general and preliminaries is surveying work, boundary packing, or just surveying work and site clearance, 2 activities, okay? And that is not counted as your 12 activities, remember that, So then you ask yourself, site clearance, is there anything that I want to describe more to my audience? Anything I want to describe more? And then if surveying work, anything I want to describe more? If the answer is yes, I think I need to put in road survey. I need to put in water work survey. I need to put in house boundary survey. Or if this is a purely structural work, I want to put in house boundary survey, and then internal layout survey. So if you want to put that as a third layer, that's fine. So it's always asking yourself, the technique is always going back and ask yourself, do I want to tell people more? Do I want to tell people more? And if you see that your activities are completely keep on duplicating, for example, keep on formwork concreting, then you should be looking more. That means you are not really thinking deep enough. Yes, for example, column beam, slab, they are all about bar bending, concreting, and formwork. Yes, that is true. But the description of formwork for column and description for formwork for beam and slab, and is there anything else you can do with slab, like ground floor slab and upper slab? The way that you work is a little bit different. The way that you pour column and pour beam is a little bit different. So you need to think in different direction. Don't just copy paste, and then you come and ask me, oh, is this okay? You know, I mean, some of it, I look at it, I don't think it's very okay, but then what can I say? You know, I mean, like, if I say not okay and I tell you exactly what to do, that means I'm doing your assignment for you already. So please understand my position. The very important thing is with fourth year work like this, I'm guiding you, meaning just pointing out to you that, this is not that great, this is not that great, this is, you can do more, or, this is, you can do less, I cannot say, hey, this is wrong, this is what, you're not primary 4, you're year 4, you see? So, yeah, and that is my take so far. So if you're going to email me regarding like, can you approve on my work breakdown? Can you approve on my project? You will not expect any reply from me. Okay. So what I can do for you is from now, today onwards, every class that we have until you hand in, we can have a 15 minutes assignment discussion sessions. And anyone who wants to show me their work, please do so now. Okay, and then that will make our classes more meaningful because that is a sharing among everybody as well. Okay, I mean, like some people with the same problem, if when you share your work, they will realize that it's their problem as well. So I don't have to repeat like 20 times the same thing. See? Okay, so anyone who wants to show me their work here, we have 10 minutes. You see, everybody is so quiet. Then later on, I receive like tons of emails, come on, guys.
Good morning, doctor.
Yes, who's this?
Chua.
Chua, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, can I ask about the critical path analysis? Can we generate it through Microsoft project, or we have to do in Excel, like the example you show us?
You have to do it do it manually. Microsoft project will never close the loop. For CPM diagram, Microsoft, their whatever inside there is not, I never use CPM from Microsoft project. You will find that it's the way that you arrange your activities, you will probably end up not being able to close any loop at all. So that is not the right Microsoft project. Primavera can do it a little bit better, but not Microsoft project. I don't know what is it for, but the Microsoft project CPM, I think it's just a guideline on just a rough idea on where should the critical path is. But if you actually do a proper analysis, you'll probably get a different critical path. Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
You cannot generate. The only thing that you can do with Microsoft project is the scheduling. It's the Gantt chart.
So we can do it through the Excel, like the example you show us.
You can do manually. If your diagram is not very big, you can even draw it on a piece of paper. I'm fine with that. But it's just that when you draw it on a piece of paper, I find it not so efficient because if you do something wrong, then you need to redraw, you see. So Microsoft Excel is actually just a better way of saving your time when you come to presentation and also when it comes to calculation. I mean, like, calculation is everything manual one. For CPM, it should be everything manual. Okay, it's basically the presentation. It's a lot easier if you do it. Like it's easier to change things if you do it on Microsoft Excel.
Thank you, doctor.
And of course, it looks a lot better than hand drawn, But if it's really hand drawn, I'm fine with it. 11, 12 activities hand drawn is actually not that bad looking as well if you can do it really nicely. But unfortunately, some people, they rub, and then they make it really dirty, and it doesn't look very nice. Yeah.
Understand. Thank you, doctor.
No problem. Yeah.
Doctor,
Yes.
can I share my screen for the work breakdown structure?
Can go ahead.
All right, so this one is our works for the main building was of 3-story shop houses. Okay, then this is the layer 1. It's about the foundation, ground level, first floor level, and then the staircase, those level, and then until the finishes. Okay.
Yeah, you go floor by floor. So you basically have about 12, you have 12 activities for the first layer. Yeah, you
16.
have
I have
16.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, normally we will actually just like sort of the finishing, we'll just count it as one activity. We hardly sort of like break it down into like ceiling finishes, wall finishes, and all that. So
Oh, I
I
see.
think the finishing you probably, because it's not really civil work. The roofing, there's roof structure and roof itself. So the roof structure you can do one, and then the roof cover you can do one. You know, like the purling and all that. Yeah, that should be
Sorry.
one. So that one is roofing, not roof finishes, huh?
Okay. So,
So all the windows, blah blah blah, you know, that one I think you can just do into one like finishing, you know, architecture finishing. And then if you want, since you're putting in architecture finishing already, you might as well also put in mechanical and electrical M&E and landscaping as another two categories. And try for your layer two, like don't have like all the formwork reinforcing and all that. Can you please try to be a bit more activity orientated? Like for example, if it's beam, if it's column, if it's slab, try to describe it in such a way that it is more oriented towards that particular uh activity. Okay. And
what do you
foundation
actually
work,
mean?
huh?
What do you actually mean by more oriented way? Like,
More oriented towards it is ground beam, ground slab, apron
mm.
slab, and column. You know, all this cannot be the same description, right?
Oh, you mean for the layer 3?
Yeah, yeah. Just give it a bit more, a bit like 3-4 words in layer two. You know, I mean in layer three, for example, like excavation of what? You know.
Or be more specific like that?
Yes, correct. Be
Okay.
more specific to that particular activity. Yeah, so that your layer three doesn't look like a repetition of everything. You see. Repetition, repetition, repetition. What's the point of having so much repetition, you see? And the purpose is with every layer, we want it to describe the particular activity really well. So if you're just doing repetition, basically, that will probably mean that you don't really need to describe it anymore because it goes without saying. You understand, John?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then your foundation work, I think for foundation work, there is really a section piling, and there is really a section on foundation work. Substructure, normally we can divide into two. Like if we say foundation work, I think we should be, if you want to make it like substructure, then it should be the piles itself and then the foundation itself. So please
2 layers of it.
for foundation, yeah, there should be about 2 activities over there. It's too little to have foundation. Like you break down foundation into only 1 activity, and then the rest of the superstructure you've got like 7, 8, 9, 10 activities. You see?
Okay.
Okay. Are you the same group as Liu Jiaxing?
No,
No, okay. Liu
I'm with
Jiaxing,
Wilson.
I already commented on Wilson's
Yeah.
already, yeah. And it's not that great as well. So it's very difficult for me to comment on paper like that. It's not that great, you know. So I mean, I'm telling you now, it's not that great. So now you know what is not that great, huh?
I'm actually with the same group as Wilson, so
Yeah. So the other day when I commented on Wilson, I was just saying that yeah, it's okay. You know, it's not that great, but then it's okay. You know, I didn't say that it's not that great, but now that I'm telling you through mouth, I'm telling you, yeah, this is not that great. Okay,
okay.
can be better, eh?
Mm.
All right. Liu, is it Liu Jiaxing? Liu LWI. You
Hello,
emailed me
Doctor.
and I haven't got time to look at it yet because I know it's almost the same thing as what everybody is asking me. So I'll kind of stop there. You want to show me your work now?
Can I share my screen now?
Can.
Thank you, Dr. Ding.
Hello, Doctor. Can you see my screen?
Yes, can. Okay, so do you have like 12 layer one? You've got 12?
I got 14. Wait.
14 now, okay. If it's 14, then that's fine, okay. It's the same lah, huh? You can see that your problem is about the same as what I was telling Wilson's and John's group. So again, there's a lot of repetition, especially in the structures component. So try to describe it more to, you imagine how to work. The best thing is you do a virtual reality in your own head, like when you're doing first floor, what are you supposed to be doing, don't you need to pack also where are all the rooms, where are the layout as well, and then where the toilet is, there will be some sort of drop as well. These sort of things are all not described in your work breakdown structure, you see. Yeah, same goes with everybody, like the two groups that show me, John and that, you just try to imagine you want to start work now. The first thing that you do is you probably have to do some layout, tagging and all that, you see. And then after that, you do your foundation work. And when you do foundation, first thing is the piling, the down day thing, you see. And what point to pile, so you have to kind of imagine, marking, yes. So marking and piling. So piling is marking, delivery of piles, marking, and then alignment, and then actual piling work. And then from the piling work, then the foundation work is the pile pad, whereby you have to hack off the pile first, so you need to think a bit deeper, especially when it comes to layer 3, yeah?
Do we need to do until level 4?
No, try not to. It's going to get too complicated.
Okay.
If you want to do layer 4, if you feel the urge you need to do layer 4, that means you have to shift something from layer 2 to be a bit more specific in layer 1 already. Yeah. So for example, if you really need to do layer 4 for material delivery, then you probably have to put like layer 1. Layer 1, you'll probably have to add another section about delivery of materials, for example. Then try to work on it that way. You shift things backwards. The moment there's an urge to do layer 4, it really means that you haven't been describing. That means your layer 1 is probably a little bit redundant, and you need to back shift everything.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. I was finding because after Wilson's messaged me, then you guys messaged me. There was someone else that messaged me as well in between. I don't remember, but everybody is thinking about the same. So this is why I say that it's the same problem. We've got to talk about this in class, okay?
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, you clear now, huh?
Yes.
So email and messaging is really for like when you have things that you really don't understand, for example, like the concept of work breakdown. Maybe you really don't understand some part of the work breakdown. For example, do you have to do 4 layers? I think there was a questions by one group, I think it was Wilson's group or somebody. He was asking me that, that he read it somewhere that is 4 layers, 3 layers is the 4 layers is the best or something like that. Those sort of questions is good to be answering through emails because it's very specific question. It's about you not understanding something. I'm very happy to answer those sort of questions, but I am not keen to answer approval, like approve this, approve that, So please be able to differentiate your question answering, like your questions email. Like if let's say your problem with production rate, like whether the production rate, don't ask me if your production rate calculation is correct. That is not the case, for you, year 4, you don't ask questions like that. You should be asking very core kind of questions. For example, production rate, if I have this if I have 2 things now, one is labor, one is machineries, which one do I choose, or I have issues about choosing which one, then those sort of questions are very core kind of questions, like understanding the theory, the understanding the actual concept. Then those sort of questions are I'm very happy to answer you all on those sort of questions. Okay. We make use of the time in the class. We'll give you after class or before class, anything really, answer to you until you're forced happy, as trust as much as I can, okay? But it's a matter of you have to ask. Okay? Anyone else besides the three just now? So the other 50 over groups has no issues, or you also have about the same issues, and just now when you see other people's work, you kind of know that you haven't done enough, or you have done too much, or you are just quite happy, quite confident with your own work after you've seen my command on other people's work. Okay, so Joey is fine.
Doctor, I have a question. Doctor.
Can?
Does MND start after structural or before completing work, Doctor?
Before M&E will be depending on which part, okay? Anything to do with piping and all that, we will usually do it around the time structure definitely has to be up first, okay? Structure always have to be up first because you have to have a perfect structure. You cannot punch a wall. I mean, you cannot punch a hole in the structure. You know, I mean, like it's okay to drill it's okay to drill a nail, drill a screw or something into the column. Okay. Normally, what you do with M&E, like for example, wiring. Wiring before you do plastering is usually before you do any finishing. So when the wall is up already, or in the middle of doing the wall, you need to think about your electrical power point. When you do the structure for the ceiling, you don't touch. I mean, structure for the first floor, you don't go and knock on the structure and put in any wiring there. You know, they will run along the structure, meaning that everything has to be completed. Structures have to be completed before M&E can go in. And M&E will always be working very, very closely with finishing. Like you don't put your plaster ceilings up, you don't put your timber ceiling or whatever up, you don't put your flooring down, you know, before you put the wiring down, for example. Once you put your finishing in and you want to put your wire and all that, either the wire has to be exposed later, meaning that you don't cut through any part of any of the finishing anymore, otherwise it will leave a mark, okay? And anything to do with wiring, you've got to do it during the finishing time. Around the finishing time, more or less if you coordinate with the finishing. With piping work, for example, toilet piping and plumbing piping, you know, sewage plumbing and all that, it is always in conjunction with the final finishing. Like before tiling work, you know, structure definitely have to be up first. Nobody put a pipe in the column, nobody put a pipe in the structure. Okay? Did I answer your question, Fazli?
Yes. Okay, Doctor. Understand.
Yeah. So you don't go and first, the principle is you don't go and cut any walls or any floor or any tiles or any finishing after they are done. So you've got to do it before. Yeah. And
Okay.
structure, the other principle is you don't go and drill anything or cut anything, chop anything off in your original structure. Structure is the main thing. You know, you do your bending moment analysis, you do your shear force analysis, you come up with that beam, column, slab. Those are structure. Structure is to hold up the whole building. You go and chop anything off, you go and cut anything off, you're just producing some weak points in the structure that will allow it to fail later on. Okay, so that is the two principle when it comes to M&E work. Always remember that, okay?
Okay, Doctor. How about the plumbing yang bawah slab, Doctor?
Of course, you have to put some. If it's anything to do with the wiring before the slab floor, especially ground floor, let's that
Yes.
wiring in the old days. Actually, this is like construction 10 years ago. People like to put like wiring and plumbing and all that underneath the slab. Yes, I mean plumbing we still do that, okay? But electrical works normally now we like to go through the ceiling work, not so much on the ground floor, because wiring, once it's been soaked underground for a long period of time, there will be a tendency after 10 years, especially in our weather, in a very wet weather, we will actually get plumbing being, the wiring being ruffled, and then you may have wiring problem after about 10 years or 15 years down the track of living in the particular building. Yeah. So we are trying to avoid that now. But I think 15 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, the people are still doing a lot of wiring, especially down the slab. Yeah. But we are trying to avoid that now. Yeah. Especially for the houses, internal houses. We're talking about internal M&E. Yeah. For the external one, like Cisco, and telecom cable, because all those, they actually have a pipe, small pipe to put it in there. So normally when we put anything underneath the slab, we put it under the slab first. It doesn't punch through the slab, you don't put the wire there, and then you put your mesh on, Normally slab we will put mesh, you see, BMC mesh. And then you don't put a wiring in there, or you don't put the piping in there, and then you pour your concrete on, and then that is in there. It's not like that, It has to be underneath before you do anything. Yeah. It's actually touching the ground one. Yeah. So except for waterworks, for plumbing, for external work, they always have a pipe, a small pipe. So those that is outside there, telecom cable and Cisco cable, they have a pipe. So when they have a pipe, it's not an issue. Yeah. This one, no. This one, sometimes they just put some plastic sleeving, and then they just put the wiring in there. And then after like 10, 15 years, it gets, like insects bite on it and all that, and then it starts to be ruffled, and then the house will get very unstable electricity once in a while. And then you may have to get people to come, and they can't do anything with the wiring down there. Basically, those wiring have to be totally abandoned and redo it based on you using ceiling already. Yeah. So I think most people will change it to ceiling based now. Yeah, not so much on the ground base, especially when it comes to wiring.
Okay, understood. So in our work program for the plumbing works, meaning that they start before RC slab, Doctor?
It will be. It will be. It will be kind of together. I mean, normally what you do is the external one that comes in, it will run along the perimeter of the houses, so you don't really cut through it underground, kind of thing. So you will go through the perimeter of the houses, going to the different locations that is required to have water. And then from there, they will run into the wall, not so much of, there will be a wall, they will, sort of cut the wall. So before finishing, not in the structure, and it's nothing to do with the structure one.
Okay. Understand, Doctor.
But different people may have a bit of different construction practice, so you have to kind of like see a few before you can really decide. But my practice would be doing that. I mean, I wouldn't run it through the, ground slab kind of thing, Because if there's any problems later, imagine if I run my pipe, everything under the slab into the house, okay? I don't do that, because if I do that during testing, if there is any leakage during the testing, I find that the pressure is not enough and there is some problems with the piping, I wouldn't be able to take off the whole slab, It can be, when you put it down there, when you pour the concrete, it could be broken because of the concreting, can be broken because of the bar bending, it can be broken because of the concrete vibrating work. So anything down there, it will be not so great, So I wouldn't do that. I'll do it around the perimeter actually.
Okay, Doctor. Paham. Thank you, Doctor.
Perimeter basically means that when you have ground, like for example, if there's any ground or anything like that.
Yes.
For example, like terrace houses will come through the back as well because there is some ground. So if it's ground, then we can kind of like take it off, Actually, not your concern in a way. This is actually mechanical and electrical engineers' concern. Is it where they put their thing? So our concern is basically up to external before the gate. You see. actual mechanical and electrical, exactly where they put it, and it's usually designed by the mechanical and electrical engineers. And normally they will use the wall. They will use the wall as the backing, not so on the ground. Yeah. But like I said, 10, 20 years back, yes, people, a lot of them are going through the ground. Yeah. So you shouldn't be too worried about that. Just make sure that you don't go and do finishing plastering before, you know, the internal plumbing has already done their pipes or their wiring for the electricians, you see. You don't put up the ceiling before they actually do that. Otherwise, they have no way of going to the ceiling to cut a hole in the ceiling, and that would be a huge hoo-ha by the buyers, you know, and or by the architect or interior designers. Coordination work, huh? Actually, for us as a civil engineers, our work is basically the structure, the wall. That is our work, and then the sewage we will design the septic tank and all that, you know. And then the piping we will actually do up to the gate where the meter is. That is our work. Internally, how it runs is actually mechanical and electrical engineers' work.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is a coordination between the three. This is going to be useful for your IDP as well later. But it is good. I mean, you ask good questions. It is good to know. Yeah. So like I say, my answer to you would be try not to run it underground, you know, beneath the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do it around the perimeter as much as possible. So when you coordinate yourself with the M&E engineers, because as a lead for any structural work, any building work, architect is actually the lead consultants, okay? Engineers are actually just like a support. But if it's a civil work, then engineers are lead consultant. So normally we do want to coordinate this properly. The proper way of doing things is to coordinate, like for example, take a look at the drawings, take a look at their where they plan their layout and all that, and then you guys talk first before you go and, you know, pour your concrete guy, you know, or do your carport guy, you know, that kind of thing, or finish up the landscape, you know. So we try to coordinate with them. Like, hey, when do you need to go in? I'm doing this already. So or before the project even started, you all need to, the whole team of consultants need to sit down and talk about the flow of work. Yeah. So that you don't hurriedly, like for example, I'm a civil engineer, I only play my piece kind of thing, you know. I only do my structure. I just put everything, I put out my wall in, and that's okay, it's ready, I'm leaving, you know, and then you do the plastering and bye-bye, you know, and then these mechanical engineers and electrical engineers come in and say, everything done already, what about me, you know? So yeah, you got to coordinate that way. Yeah, that is the actual site environment.
Okay, doctor.
Okay.
Yes,
Does
I
it answer your
understand.
question? Yeah, you understand, huh?
Yes, you answered the question, doctor.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? I think Fazli questions is basically later on he wants to know where he draw his Gantt chart. You know, is it after or before? And his questions is a sequencing activity sequencing question. Okay, which I think will be very helpful to many of the others as well. Where is where? What comes first? What comes next? Because in your schedule you've got to do it like that way. But like my answer to him is normally you've got to coordinate with the other consultants as well, you see. So here you can have a rough idea of putting it before the finishing, after the structure, unless it's actually underground completely. If your drawings is basically showing you is everything is underground, then you've got to be very concerned about, you've got to be wary before you do your structural work. You've got to put your bar as early as possible, kind of thing, before your ground. You know, you don't have to put the activity up there before, but you can put it down there. But the bar itself, when you draw it, it will be probably about parallel to the slab activities. So it's about sequencing, yeah. So where you're going to put your bars later on. Yeah, now it's about you're calculating the duration. Your concern is duration. After you do a duration, you got to think about the sequencing. And these are the activities that you need to be a bit in conjunction with one another kind of thing. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, it's almost 11 already. We've got to move on to our class.
No question, Doctor.
Okay, any more? One last question? Anyone last question from the floor? Okay, no. Looks like no. Okay, if anything else, you can always ask me later on in the chat box, okay? Put it in the chat box and yeah. Or we can, during the QR code punching time, we can also still talk about it, okay? Right. We have covered Gantt chart. We've covered Gantt chart duration calculation, activity sequencing, and I believe that all of you are actually doing the assignment. And as you're doing the assignment, I think a lot of you will be really learning something while you're practicing with the assignment. Okay, and I think you're fine. It's just a matter of doing the assignments, doing the tutorial, and trying to find out where is it that you don't understand. The problem is sometimes you don't even know what you don't understand. That could be an issue, you see. So we have our Gantt chart. We've done excessive work on Gantt chart. And with the assignment, I think you'll be so, after this, I think you really feel like you know how to do Gantt chart already. Okay, and then doing the calculation of activities and all that. So I have a notes for you the other day, which is the week 4. We mark down, these are the floor. So we have like week 4, planning for time. And also we have week 3, planning for time. And then week 3 also we've got the work breakdown. Do we have week 3 here? No, I think is it relevant? Let me check. Oh, this is scheduling, yes. So yes, we have like these notes here. Make sure that you have these notes with you. So we've got a week 3 Thursday planning for time, and then we've got the week 3 resources structure, resource work breakdown structure and resources, and then we've got the work. These are all on scheduling. These are all on Gantt chart, okay? And then we also have Dr. Lee's showing you the Gantt chart, how to do it over Microsoft projects. And then we also show you like how to do work breakdown in this PDF format, in this combined sample week 3, combined samples, resources, data. So these are all an example of resources worksheet week 3, resources worksheet. So week 3, we are basically concentrating on Gantt chart, Gantt chart, Gantt chart, Gantt chart. And week 4, we were doing something like Gantt chart and also CPM. And week 4 and week 5, week 4, this is week 5 or week 4? 5? Is it week 5? Where am I now actually? Week 5 or week 4? 5 or week 6? 5 now this week. Okay, oh yeah. So last week was week 5. This week is week 6. Yeah. Okay. So week 5, my notes was actually concentrating on doing CPM. So week 4, it was more like finishing up on Gantt chart and trying to do CPM, learning about some of the basic on CPM. And then after that, week 5, it was a whole last week, we were talking about what is AOA, AON, examples, and different examples. And we've got a tutorial for AON, and we've also got the, what else have we got? The, I think that's about it, tutorial, examples, how to do the calculation for AOA, how to do the calculation for AON, and we also have these extra notes here that we had on on this tutorial, this is the tutorial that I was showing you on how to do it on AON. There was an extra note somewhere on, no, don't have, okay. Then I want to show you this as well, just to give you a better idea, okay, on scheduling, okay. So this piece of notes, I hope that it can support all your notes. You know, this is like, I'm giving you a textbook kind of thing, you know. So here, I will post it up today, okay. I didn't want to post it up last 2 weeks because when we go through it, I don't think you need to have more confusion. So now, after you've gone through it, we've gone through Gantt chart, we've gone through CPM. These notes here, these slides here is going to be good for you to check out if there's any theory that you want to know. So this is about bar chart. What is bar chart? Okay, and advantages is advantages. Different bar charts. Okay, different type of bar charts. What is in the y-axis? What is in the x-axis? Etc. Activities. Doing all this. I think this one is we've gotten it from UTHM, and I kind of borrow it from them and let you guys have it, you know. So these are all bar charts, you know, how to do bar charts. And then critical path method, again, there is a ADM, arrow diagramming method, which is AOA. And then we've got you see all the activities are on the arrow. And then we've got PDM as well. And PDM, it looks like this, you see, and then the calculation of PDM. So what is the do's and what are the don'ts and all this. So this is a very good piece of notes, again, to give you more examples, to give you more theories on what is CPM, what is Gantt chart, okay? So again, CPM is a way of presenting your schedule. It's a way of working out on your schedule, on that planning for time. And then for CPM or critical path network, is like analyzing your schedule based on a network. Network is also another way of showing your schedule. And from the network, you do your critical path method, and you need to know how to do forward pass, backward pass. And these are all being shown here in this example, like what is forward pass, what is backward pass, you know. What is forward pass, what is backward pass, and then these are backward pass, forward pass, backward pass, and then followed by total float, free float. And then there's example here on ADM, there's example here on ADM total float and PDM total float. PDM and ADM is AON and LOA. So these are the same thing, okay? So you've gone through the notes. There is a lot of things. I mean, it may look very confusing. I'm trying to sort of map it out for you better that way. So examples, a lot of examples again here for you to try out. So there is many things that you can try out and do and all that. So you should know how to do total float by now. You know how to do free float by now. You know how to do forward pass. You need to know how to do backward pass, calculation of total float, calculation of free float. And I've given you examples, okay? I've gone through 2 examples with you. I've gone through extra tutorial with you. And I'm giving you extra notes with extra examples here. So basically, if you bother to go through everything, there is enough of example to make you want to vomit already, okay? So please try it out. You know, don't say that there's no example given by Dr. Ting. He's not giving enough examples. It's not true. There is a lot of examples. It's just that we cannot hold your hand and go through every example one by one. And then if that is the case, I can tell you, half of the SEM, we are still going to be here doing PDM, ADM, total float, free float, okay? If there's any issues, please by all means email me or ask me during class. That is very important, okay? Interaction is very important. I don't know where your problem is unless you ask me. Yeah, I only would know you don't understand what, you know, until you ask me. Otherwise, I don't know. Okay, I only can assume that I am very clear already, and therefore, you should be clever enough to know. Okay, so these notes I will post it under week 5. Week 5, is it week 5? Yeah, week 5. I will post it under week 5. I'll probably post it in this week, week 6. But if I do it in week 6, then you may get a confusion, yeah. But yeah, I think I should just post it in week 5. This is extra courtesy notes from extra examples, yeah, for bar chart and PDM, ADN, or AON, AOA. Yeah, these are the same thing. AOA, apple, equal to ADM. PDM is AON, N for nuts, okay? And so these are the same terminologies. Basically, the way they analyze is about the same, yeah? So please, ganbatte, okay? Go through it. And now after you know how to do your CPM, you know how to do your Gantt chart, you know, it's time that we go a step further, yeah? By doing a step further, we would be talking about control, working more on the schedule, and also trying to merge CPM with the schedule. Yeah. So these are certain things that you will be sort of combine the two knowledge of Gantt chart and CPM. Okay. There is a purpose for this. I mean, we don't want to do CPM and then Gantt chart, and then later on you ask me, Dr. Ting, why you want to do this? I already know how to do Gantt chart. You want me to do CPM. After that, I do my CPM, so what? You know, there is very important information that will not be presented in the Gantt chart, but it will be presented in the CPM. But obviously, there is also a combination of information that if you actually merge the two of them together, you're actually going to get a very powerful controlling tools in that sense that will actually help you to control or manage a site or manage a schedule in a lot better way. Yeah. So the first thing is once you know your critical path, and your total flow, what is the purpose? Once you know it, there is something called activities or schedule compression. If you need to fast track any of the activities, or if you need to fast track the project, if say, for example, you've got information that, you got instructions, not information, that you need to compress your schedule. It could be because of political reasons. It could be because elections is coming. It could be because there is a new facilities down the line somewhere that needs that water or needs that building or needs that whatever going. So you are being asked to compress your schedule. When you're asked to compress your schedule, especially in fast track projects, you will be compressing your your critical path. So those critical path is the critical path is like a rubber band. If you pull it further from one another, the top and the bottom deadline further from one another, you are actually lengthening your schedule. You are actually stretching it. But if you're actually pressing it, you're actually compressing it, you're fast tracking it, you are actually compressing your schedule. And because of fast tracking, you will crash certain activities. So you crash means what? Crash means you're going to be putting in more additional resources to reduce the duration. Okay. It may not be a good thing. I mean, we normally don't want to do that. I mean, but honestly, I have been through a project like that. It was at the beginning of my career as an engineer. There was Desa Ilmu, the current Desa Ilmu. The first entrance into Desa Ilmu, the few row of houses in the beginning, Desa Ilmu is huge now. Okay, about 20 years ago, 20 years ago, when I first came back as an engineer, I was in charge of that project. And that few houses in front, that the first few area, that the first 10 rows, I think, it was during my time. Okay, and the first row or second row, the developer at that time, the whole Desa was actually like empty, gosong, all jungle one. So at that time, the developer actually wanted us to compress the schedule because they are trying to do a show house. So it was like a huge development. It was the beginning of the development. So they were trying to do a show house, and they want all the contractors to work together to compress the schedule to do I think it was like 5 or 8 houses in 10 days. So we've got the complete, I don't remember exactly, 8 or 5. I know it's just one row. I think that one row was probably 5 or 6 or 8, I think, was of houses. Terrace houses, like it was low cost housing, medium cost housing. So we've got to finish everything in 10 days. You know, I wasn't the structural contractor, but I was the water contractor. So I was working in conjunction with the structural contractor. So it was like a schedule compression. So when you have a schedule compression, you need to crash activities. You at that time that 5, let's say let's say 6 I don't want to keep on repeating the same thing. Let's say the 6 houses need to be finished in 10 days. We've got to add resources. And you know how at the end of the day, that 6 houses in that 10 days, we have about 50 to 60 workers. Like when you look at the whole place, it was like having ants on it. That's the feeling of it. So you've got to add these additional resources. Okay. And of course, the concreting work will probably need to use some super plasticizers, you know, and all that to get it going, you know, to get it set and all that. And then you've got workers, additional machineries, workers and all that. And we need to know when we put in so much of additional workers that work 24 hours and we put in additional chemical materials in order to work for us, it all means money, extra cost. And then it will probably at the expense of quality. So we see you want to keep the same quality and yet reduce the time, something got to suffer. So it's probably money, you see. So when you put all these additional resources here, you need to know which activity to compress. There's so many activities from, you know, floor, ceiling, like you guys are doing your assignment now. You're doing like so many works, you know, like 12 works. It's about the same as what we are doing at the time for that 6 units. So you need to know which activity to compress, which is important for you to compress, to put your schedule to crash it. Otherwise, you are saying that I just want to bring more guys in, put more things in, but they're working in the wrong area. When they're working in the wrong area, you're not going to be able to contract or crash your activities. So crash means that you want to reduce the time for that particular activity and by putting in additional resources. So this is the first thing that we need to understand when we are doing why we are doing CPM. Okay, so once your activity, this is the original schedule. So once you compress and shorten, you're just basically pushing everything back. And you've got to know, see, this red line is actually, you see, we are not touching anything on the blue line. What's the point? Because if you're touching the blue line, these are not critical activities. So the red lines are the critical activities. So when you compress them, you are going to compress the whole schedule. So at the end of the day, instead of 2nd of November, this is 2nd of November completion. We're completing it in 2nd of April. Oh no, sorry, this is February 11 and February 4th. So instead of February 11 finishing up this activity, we're finishing up the project in 4th of February. So again, the purpose of doing total flow is to understand your critical path. The purpose of doing your critical path is to understand that which activities can be crashed so that you can fast track the entire project. This is what we call activity crashing, fast tracking. Understand? Yeah? Purpose number 1, right? So basically, once you've got this baseline, so basically you've done your schedules, okay, and then you have your back. What you need to do with your schedule now is to take your CPM and convert it into your schedule. So from your CPM, after you've done, you're going to draw something like this. You got to put in where is a critical path, etc., etc. See? and I will show you how to do the next thing. Okay. So I go to schedule control first. I think maybe not. Okay. Right. I will do schedule control later. So after you've done your activity crashing and all that, and then the purpose of it is you actually have a new schedule. And what we can do is, that is one purpose. The other purpose is when you are going to do multiple projects, okay, when you're going to do multiple projects, what you need to do is to actually understand what are the activities that can be delayed and what are the activities that cannot be delayed. And how do you know that? You know that because you know your total float, okay? Especially, we don't want to delay the whole entire project. We just want to delay some activities so that we can shift some of our resources to another activity, yeah? With your resources allocation, what happened is, in the beginning, you've done your resources allocation. Otherwise, you cannot do your schedule and your CPM. So after you've done your schedule and CPM, let's say there's no need to do activity crashing. Okay, everything is as normal. But you do have rivalry in terms of resources. There is limitation in terms of manpower, or there is limitation in terms of machineries, yeah, or there is problem maybe with some delivery of certain materials. So with this thing, there are resources constraint or resources issues. And the other thing is you have multiple projects, meaning that you only have X amount of resources, but you are running 2 or 3 projects at the same time. Yeah. So from there, by combining your schedule with your CPM results from total float, you can do what we call resources leveling or resources smoothing. Yeah. So say, display the picture. Okay, never mind. That is, I will try to find the thing and cut and paste again. That one is basically telling me that for certain activities for this particular project, I've got this activity A, B, C, D, E, you know, these 5 activities, which is AOA. I've got this total float. This is my total float. I understand where my total float is and where my critical path is. So this is my critical path, okay? And then I need to understand where my free float is. Where's my free float? Okay. Right. So this is my critical path. Yeah. And that one just now show me, I think there's something wrong with the slides here. I mean, I can see it here, but I can't see it here for some reason. Okay. Yeah, so what happened is, never mind. Let's be quick about this. So what happened is you take your original schedule that you drew, okay, that you have your original schedule and you have got all your activity and your duration. And then so you color in all your schedules. You've done that already, basically. You know, you've done that already. You take it up now and you highlight where is your critical path and where are your activities that B, and you see here it says that B and E is critical path. So B and E, you can't do anything. But after your calculation of free float here, you will see that there is some float time. You see, there's some float time. These are all your float time. So you kind of like punch in your float time or you drew your float time in. And then after that, what do you do? Now we're not worried about critical path. We're not talking about critical path. We're talking about that resources. Because of that resources issue, we are taking note on the free float. When we're taking note on free float, you drew your free float. So you take out your schedule that you have done before you do your critical path. After you've done your critical path analysis, you highlight where are your critical path in your schedule and then you put in the dotted lines for your non-critical activity where you have float time, okay, from the calculation of free float. So this is the purpose of having free float and total float. So from there, you will punch in your resources. So basically, this slide here just now, I was trying to show you where are what are the resources needed. So here also there's supposed to be display on all the resources. So for this activity, I need activity A, B, C, I need 2 person working. So you have the number of resources. This is the originally planned resources. So you put 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you just punch it across you just go across the lines like this, okay, and put in all your resources. So you can have machineries and numbers, you cannot have 1.5, okay? It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, no matter the amount has to be a deterministic amount. You just key in onto your bar chart, okay? Onto your bar chart, and then what you do is you do your addition this way. Down. So day 1, I need 4 person working on site. Day 2, I need 4. Day 3, I need 6. And day 4, I need 4, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So then this is your labor requirement. This is your labor requirement. And we normally would like to convert this into a histogram. When we convert this into a histogram, you will see very clearly where is the, where are the tinggi punya tempat. You know, some of them are very low down there, some of them are middle somewhere, and then you will see the topmost region. It's like if you imagine you put your histogram into 3 layers, you will see all the jutting out, like all the head jutting out for some activities. And this is what we call resources leveling. We want to raise off or level off that layer, the top layer where you have all this soil time jutting out, okay? But you cannot simply raise up. If you simply raise up, you may be raising off some of the activities that is required some of the manpower that is required in the major activities, you see? So what happened is in the critical activities, so you need to pick a level to level off. We cannot just simply say, oh, I want, like in this case, I cannot simply say that, okay, I want to put 3. So you see that it's 4, 4, 4, 2, you see? And then this 6 is kind of jutting out. So what we do is we put everything 4 and then we try. So we've got this shortage of 2. But this shortage of 2 doesn't fall under anything here that will require, that has total float. If there is, then you're pretty much safe. That means I can delay this activity a little bit. I can delay this a little bit. I mean, I can purposely delay, some of this activity, like for example, this 2 here, I put 4. So I put my guys working here, I put my guys working here, and I've got this activity that has free float. So that means I can purposely delay this activity, meaning that I have nobody working in activity C, for example. Okay, then I will make it next month. You're still using 4. How? You see? So you may be delaying this activity. So you delay again, and you still need 4. But basically here, there will be a point that there is ability that, because this one here, I am actually affecting the next activity, you see? So the important thing is the next activity. So what happened is I still have D, my next activity that I have extra here. You see, so I can purposely delay this C until the resources is available during this time. And then I get my negative, positive, I kind of even it out. So you play around with this float time. You play around with all this float time. Okay, so this could be one way of raising off. We call it level raiser. You just imagine anybody likes to do gardening, like you take your lawnmower or your, like how some people, they have this backpack with the machine that cut off the grass. So all this extra grass that is jutting out will definitely get cut lah. So we are trying to find a level which is fat for our resources. Why? The reason simply is being that if you do that, you are actually trying to keep the same amount of resources on site. You see, that is a very conservative way of working for me. You put the same number of resources on site, and then from there, you will actually have fixed. We don't want people, you don't want to have four guys, and then later on you call in two guys to work, and then later on you put in, I say, okay, next month I don't need you, so I sack you. Then this is a very simple example. When you have 12 activities and your resources is going to be up and down, up and down, up and down like that, are you going to set people, bring in more people, set people, bring in more people, set people, bring in more people? You will be going crazy trying to manage people. Okay, your human HR people will be calling you up and say, can you please just be a bit more stable here, and not change your mind so often, So these are the kind of issues that we have. This is people management. So with that, we are trying to find way of having the same equal amount of people on site by taking into account of the float time. Okay, so if you can delay the activity, that you delay this one or you delay this one, then because of the float available, you can actually either start this really late, or you can just start this late, finish this and start this late, and then using the float time. So main thing is you just cut it off. Okay, so like here, this is the resources histogram that I'm talking about. Basically, you raise it off, then you keep the same level on site. Okay. So there are rules here. Never use a critical activity. Okay. Don't overuse the float. Okay. And don't try to separate your bar chart and Gantt chart, meaning that, like how here, like suddenly I have like either you shift it over or you just basically don't just break it. Don't just like pick this and put here kind of thing, You don't break your schedule. Yeah. You have to be like, then you have like here, stop here, not like that. You don't break your schedule. You don't break your charts in that sense. Huh? Okay. Right. So we basically finish with resources leveling. Okay. And there are some more examples on resources leveling. Okay. This is getting more and more complicated. Like you can see that, with the second example, there will be more complication here, and you will start to have more people, more resources, and then your leveling can be a little bit more complicated, not as simple as what I've shown you already. Yeah. So this is the part that you may want to consider a lot of things, and especially those with the free float time. The red color one definitely are the one that cannot be delayed. So then if you want to razor, then you will razor off. If you want to use the razoring method or the leveling method, you still can do that. Okay, like this. This is still a razoring method. So you razor it off at 35. Okay, and then see the calculation here, whether, is there any, here there's negative. Try to use calculation in a way that if there's any negative here, the positive, the shortage here, that can be replenished with the negative. So as long as you can do this mathematics of plus and minus, making up the shortage with the later activities, then you basically can keep that number. If you don't have it, like let's say if you pick 30, and the numbers here are a little bit different, and then you cannot use the negative to make it up, then don't use that number. So these are a very systematic way of looking at this. Me, I usually just like to zip off, and then look at my activities and see if I can just shift things in. So I kind of like go for a more pictorial way. But some people who are very mathematical orientated, you may want to just do the mathematics itself, make sure that this 90 and this here are actually equal to one another. If not, then you may have issues. Okay, that is actually a good way. Otherwise, maybe because of I've been working for a while, so I kind of like just don't look at this and kind of look at the bar chart and say, oh, I think I just want to cut. I'll cut it off here, or I'll cut it off at 40. Some people will cut it off 25. Some people will cut it off 28 or 38 or 35. It's really, really very independent one. Very independent of the project manager themselves. So we cannot really fix it at something, you know, and only the formula will tell you to fix it at that. But if you are more conservative, you can fix it higher, 40. If you are fixed, if you are less conservative, you are more daring, you can actually fix it at 25 or 30. 30, yeah, 30 to 40. So what we will normally do is depend on the person, yeah. And also cannot be displayed, okay. The other way is what we call resources smoothing. Resources smoothing is like this. If you see your part, it looks like this, okay, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. What we would normally like to do is another way besides picking certain numbers to level it off at 9 like this. What we will do is we will do what we call resources smoothing. When we do resources smoothing, we will kind of have a number, a low number in the beginning, and moving up to a peak number and hold it as long as possible before starting to drop off. So you're trying to find the curve, a curve that you're comfortable with. You can keep this as long as you can, but the principle of smoothing is to have activities that will go from low, and the resources that go from low to mid, to middle high, to high, hold it as long as possible, come down to mid high, and come down to low. So this is another way, because if you're not comfortable with leveling and keep the same amount, you can manage it in terms of this. Because beginning of a project, you're using less people, and then after that, you use slightly more. You keep on increasing until a point that you hold it, and then you will start to decrease. This is also okay, because what we don't want is we don't want to increase. So you don't want to set people, bring in people, set people, bring people. You want to bring in people, hold, bye. You know, this or that kind of principle. So, okay. So, in, hold, out. Come, hold, bye. Okay, so use that to remember. Okay, so this is resources smoothing. And so for resources smoothing, some people like it, I like it too, you know, I mean, like, I don't like to kind of like call people out and say, hey, can you bring in more guys? And then next month, hey, brother, next month, I don't need so many people. Can you just bye some of the stuff? No, we don't want that, especially if you're keeping a payroll list, you know, and you got to deal with social EPF and all that. You really don't want to bring in and out. You know, so subcontracting, maybe you still can say, hey, bring in more guys, oh, bye, you know, and then they will get very irritated with you, especially subcontractors when they have labor subcontracting. They bring in people and then you say don't want them next month. Now you want them to come back again, it's very, very difficult. Huh? Very, very difficult. They may be committed to another site already. So the good thing is with this, how do you do multiple projects? How do you do multiple management? I will leave it to next week, to the next class, because if I do that, I think you're all going to be, you know, like having a bit of a sun feel, you know, getting dizzy already. So get this out first. So here, many examples. I will rearrange the notes a little bit, so that it flows a little bit better and make up of some of the missing parts. Okay, and then once we got this is playing with resources. Once the resources is set up, okay, you have a fixed number on site. Then you can use that number and play with your other projects resources. So you can actually merge them, kind of thing. And oh, sorry, I forgot to say, for resources smoothing, what we will do is you will shift this. You know, like once you punch in all your critical activity, which is in red, and then you have your low activity, which has total flow in gray. So with resources smoothing is what you do is you can actually shift this thing. You know, you are making sure that you shift this thing over, so you can see that, let's say you shift this 2 over, this will be less, you see. This 2 will be over here already. So then your number will be lesser. So then you're going up and up. So this is going to be 3377, okay, and then 9, 9, and then pick at certain, okay, and then again, this activity here, if you really want to be not going to 7, you can shift D over to here. It's all about playing with the shift, you see. So it's actually shifting. For leveling, is you need to look at where the critical activity is and if they can make it up, make it up for the lost time. But here is like shifting this, so that shifting it like, like this, shift left, the L is left, shift. So that once you shift, you are trying to make sure that you get a smooth curve. That is the difference between smoothing and leveling. Yeah. So smoothing is more on shifting, playing this, you see. I shift this over, I shift this over. So once this is shift, my numbers will sort of like looks better now. 3377999, and shift some more, and then the number will sort of like flows better. So this one, instead of dropping and then going up again, we make it smoother. You see? So these are resources smoothing. Yeah. So smoothing plays with shifting of your charts. Leveling deals with just one line across and trying to find where are the activities that actually needs, that has free float, so that you can make it up for the lost time. That is the concept of leveling, and this is the concept of smoothing. Any questions so far? Besides these notes, there will be another notes here. This is again example. This one has another example on resources profiling. So this is your activity. This is AON. You can see this is AON, and then you've got the activity, and this is the label. And then after you finish your Gantt chart, after you finish drawing your bar chart and your forward pass, backward pass, you've done your free float and you've done your critical path, and you know where exactly is your total float, you pick out your original schedule and color it in critical path, non-critical path, and float. So these are the float, Then you punch in your numbers of resources. You put in your number of resources across the chart. So A, you have 2. So this is going to be 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4. Okay. And 3. This is going to be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And then 2, 2. So then you add it up. And then this is your profile. This is your histogram. So with your histogram, now you want to do leveling? You pick up. So you can level at 5, or you want to be conservative, you level at 6. But when you level at 5, you've got to go through that calculation and see if there's anything here and here that allows you to keep it at 5. Okay? Or you can do smoothing. Okay, where's my smoothing? Wait. Sorry, I may have a page missing somewhere here. So from this profiling, either you do a leveling or you do smoothing. So smoothing means that you can shift some of these resources, like either you can shift this over here, you can do some shifting work, and then recalculate to make sure that your numbers go from low, 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 mid, mid, high, 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 mid, mid, high, low, low. So this is what we're going to do with smoothing. Let me check my notes here. Okay, so I have to, maybe I accidentally delete something. Okay, 73, 74. Yeah, I think I deleted something. There's 79. Jump to 79. Okay, so I will take I'll take another look at the notes later. Right. Okay. So this is about resources leveling and resources smoothing, and why we want to have free flow, and why we want to know total flow, why we want to know free flow. So for total flow, it's more about activity crashing, activity compression, schedule compression. Fast tracking is about total flow. When it comes to free float, it's about trying to lengthen your schedule so that your resources can have more room to move and to use your resources at areas that more efficiently and to optimize the resources and also to use your resources at other projects. And if you have constraint with resources, that would be a good way to either do resources leveling or resources smoothing. And that is in a way dealing with resources constraint, number one, and number two, multiple project management. So I'll explain on multiple project management on Thursday, plus wrapping up on time on Thursday, and maybe starting off with cost management. Likely to start off a little bit on cost management on Thursday. So if you have any questions on resources smoothing, leveling, and all that, please by all means ask me, okay, on that day. So any questions so far? Any questions, ladies and gentlemen, while I do your QR? Okay, group one, go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Ting.
Yes.
I'm Gilmos, and I have some questions to ask. May I ask some questions?
Can you give me, I'll go and grab a drink. Can you give me like a
Sorry, I hear nothing.
yes, go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Ting. I go through the Wi-Fi class note number 2, and I found that there is a network in the figures, and I found that there was a dotted line inside. So I don't understand what that dotted line represent for.
Vic, what again?
Wi-Fi class note number 2.
Five
There's an
plus.
example.
Can you tell me the file name?
Wi-Fi.
Is it AON example, AOA examples?
No. Wait a second. Yeah, Wi-Fi AOA example.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about it today. This dotted line, is it?
Not in the figure ones. Up. Yeah. inside
Dummy.
the network. Yeah.
Okay, I think if you go through my recording that I posted, I actually explained on this that day, because you want to have the connection between this activity with this activity. So obviously you cannot, because this is activity on the arrow. So obviously I cannot take this, because this one is connected with this one also. This one is also connected with this one. So I cannot draw another line like this, you see. So I cannot draw this and this. If I draw this, and if I take 2 and draw another line here too, that means I will have 2 times, you know. So this is not the right way to draw the network. So this dotted line is called dummy activities, which we will use to connect between this activity and this activity. This activity with this activity. Yeah. So this is a line that doesn't mean anything but a connection. So there is no duration here, it's 0 duration, but in the calculation of forward pass and backward pass, we still need to make it as part of the activities. It's called dummy activities. Anytime you want to show the relationship between one activity with the other activity, okay, and this is also having another parallel activity which has connection with this activity, you can use a dummy activity to show that connection. It's basically that this has to be done first before this one can be done. This has to be done first before this one can be done.
Yep.
You don't understand?
Actually, I'm still blur a bit.
What is the blur part?
I'm confused at why we don't like just draw a line on
If
3
you
to
draw
2.
a line here, this is activity on arrow link.
Yes.
This activity, you draw a line here, that means you're going to duplicate 2 lines. Because this one is also connected with this, you know. So this one
Yeah.
has to show that relationship. And then if you draw another line here, you're going to have 3 lines. And the other line that you draw is going to be a duplicate. So that means this whole network will have more than, if this is like how many activities? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're going to have 12 activities. Something is wrong already. Because this is the real activities. You cannot duplicate it, you know.
Oh, I see.
Ah.
Oh, okay, I see.
You see, so you want to show the relationship? Yes, I know. That's why I say you cannot just simply draw another line. That is the fastest way. So if I
see.
want to show the relationship with this and this, I can just draw like this. But then in this particular network, there will be 2 activities that is dealing with. This is what construction of foundation. So you're going to construct foundation 2 times.
Oh, I see.
So if you have many of these, you're gonna have so many extra activities, and then your site people will be very, very confused, you see.
Yeah.
Lay water riser main. You only lay water riser main 1 time. If I want to show the relationship here, I can draw another line like this. Correct or not? But then I will have lay the riser main. Then your guys will be like, lay the riser main where? Which one? How come 2 times, you see?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, understand.
Oh, good. All right.
Dr. Ting, one more question. I would like to talk about my understanding so far of the web browser system. So for my understanding for web browser system, structure, sorry, WBS.
Oh, work breakdown system.
Structure. Yeah. Sorry. So for my understanding so far, we can even use like we don't need it for in level 1. It's not supposed to be like something like structural words, architecture words, and afford like that. Because when I do research from online. Normally the example, the WBS example in online, normally they put earthworks, structure works, architecture work, something like that in level one. So from in our assignments, we do not need to suppose necessary compulsory to put that in our level one, right?
It really
We can
depends on
even
what Ling, you cannot one formula apply to everything, you know. This is like what we call you are using one plastic bag for everything. Like you what your mentality now is a one size fit t-shirt, you know. So like a one size SML all can fit. No, when you see this thing online, you have to look at their example. You see, some projects are actually civil work projects. Some project is actually combination of civil work and structural work. Some project is purely structural work. And some project is many structure going on at the same time. You see? So basically, the principle is layer one should be able to describe all the major work of the project. Some people, they like to do like, let's say if they have 5 buildings, they actually use level one as 5 buildings, like grandstand, stadium, you know, and then as a running track, you know, football field, you know, and then they will put only 5, you know,
I see.
and then they go into detail in certain layer, and then they end up not having enough, and then they do the 4th layer, and some even go for five layers, which we don't like. You see, I mean, like in civil, we will normally stick to the principle is there about 4 layers. You see, 4 layers maximum. 3 is a nice number. Okay, so
I see.
not necessarily every project must have 3. Not every project necessarily must have 4. Most of you guys, the example that you guys are picking are like what? Are like just a house or a shop lot, you know. So what you can do is, if you really want to have, like, if you really want to waste the is you don't want to waste any of the layer. You want to use your, let's say if I give you 5,000 words to describe this, okay? It's the same thing. I'm giving you 3 layers to describe your project. So you use the word very preciously. You use the layer very preciously. You treat it like a precious thing. So you don't want to simply waste your layer like that and then later on add lots of layers inside there. So it's not like, oh, I see online that they split up into structure of work, then I must every project split it up into structure of work. It's not like that.
Okay, I see.
It's like your project. So now your project is so small. So if you split up into structure and of work, you only have structure and of work.
Okay, I see.
Are you wasting your layer?
No.
You are definitely wasting your layer. Your layer one becomes structure and of work. That's it. You see? Then you have to go to layer 2 already.
Yeah.
You're wasting your layers completely. So why don't we not do that and then put that structure, think about the structure, all the structure work, the major work in the structure, and put that as the first layer. Think of the major work, site clearance, all these things as a major layer and put it in the first layer. So we quickly use as many as we can to describe using the first layer and then moving on to the second and third, so that we keep it within that 2 or 3 layers kind of 3 layers maximum kind of region. Like I say, you say that okay, everything structure of work, foundation structure of work, drainage work, and that. Yes, if your project has that many work, it is a huge mega project of doing a football field, stadium kind of thing, you know, play or whatever, like, you know, like one of those like sports facilities, for example. Then you have a lot of different work, you see. So do you want to put that in the first layer, or do you want to just put like the type of work as a heading only and then go straight into the work? The main thing is even layer 1. A lot of people like to do layer 1 as they don't do enough description in layer 1. They wasted layer 1, you see. And most of like examples that I see from other groups, there are only one shop lot, one house, or one row of shop lot. And then they don't even talk about, they don't even want to talk about the civil work. So with that only one, you want to waste your layer on two things only, or three things only. And then put the structural work, many things in layer two, and then not enough later put layer three. You see, so it's a waste. I will really shift all the important structural work to layer one. You see, why not?
Yeah.
Mm.
Understand.
So as we're understanding work breakdown is like that concept of I'm asking you to write an essay. Okay?
Okay.
I get you to write an essay. I give you 5,000 words, you stick to that 5,000 words. So you want to tell me as much story as you can in that 5,000 words. So the same thing, I give you 3 layers, you want to tell me the whole picture of the project in that 3 layers. So don't waste your layers.
Okay, I see.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah. Understand.
Understand now? Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ting.
Good question to ask, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Wait. Group 3. Group 3.
Good morning, doctor. I have question regarding to just now what Link asking. Hello, doctor.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, doctor, I have question regarding to what Link asked just now for the dummy activities.
Yeah, okay.
Since the dotted line is for dummy activities only, right? It's just for AOA only, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
AOA.
Yes.
And what if like just now for that diagram, right? We link activity 3 to activity 2. What if I draw the dotted line to from activity 3 to activity 5? Will I be penalized? Is it wrong?
You're not making sense. You're what? You're doing what? Drawing what line to what line?
Like if I terbalik the dotted line with the straight line.
Terbalik the dotted line with straight line.
Uh,
This one with this one?
wait. Yeah. For an example.
Why? Why would you want to do that? Because
Also, it's
if
just a
you want,
connection, right?
if you want to do this
Mm-hmm.
and this, so you want to do two
No.
lines of this, and then here you dotted line here.
Yeah, for no. It's okay, doctor. I understand already. Thank you. I understand already.
You have to know, make logical sense,
Okay. It's just like because I have to done activity 1 first before 3, and then for 2 is after I done activity 3, something like that, right?
You use your note, you use the description with your notes. So you're saying to me that now what 1, 3, you okay, 1, 2, and 1, 3 must
Yeah.
go first.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
can you repeat your question again with the note format?
It's okay, doctor. I think I understand already. I just want to double confirm is it the dotted line is not applicable for AON?
No, normally
Okay.
AON, because the activities exist on the note itself, we normally don't have a dummy activity.
Okay. Thank
Itself
you,
will be
doctor.
an activity already. We hardly have any dummy activities on the note itself.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
But this one here, especially for AOA, it's a relationship, you know, it's a relationship showing kind of thing. As long as there's a relationship showing, and then because this one here also have to be done before this, and also have to be done before this. You see, these two have to go first before this can proceed. So that is why this one is here. It makes sense because here and then here. But this one, I cannot do another line here. You see, if I do another line here, I can actually. I mean, they will be parallel, meaning that this one will be somewhere in the center. You will put this one down in the center, and then you've got like, you know,
Yeah. It's
like that. But unfortunately, we have another thing here. You see,
yes.
that requires a predecessor of 1, 3.
Mm,
So
Can.
the network is such a way that these two, these two, this depend on these two, this depend on this. That there is a repetition here of dependency of this with this two, you see?
Okay, doctor.
You haven't got it, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Continue asking. I will go to the people who are doing QR code. Anyone wants to okay, group 1, anyone who hasn't punched? Group 2, group 3. You see, I mean, sometimes it's a confusion when we have both AOA and AON, you see. To not show you one, to show you my favorite and not show you the other one is not fair. So I've got to show you both. So that's where the confusion comes in, you see. So when you have activity on the arrow and activity on the note, you have to be very clear, especially in exams or in any case, which one you are using. The moment you are clear, then you will stick to that flow, you see. You cannot mix, you cannot mix, totally cannot mix on these two. Anyone wants to do manual? Ling and Joey, you both are super clear. I mean, I'm a bit worried. You know, you guys are super clear, or
Yeah, I'm clear already.
Me too.
90%.
90%? No, I mean, like you have to. If you're clear, then the next thing is to make sure that you really know what you're doing. Is to go and do some examples with AOA and see if there's anything you know how to handle dummy. Okay.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the main thing is the necessity of the dummy. If you know if you need dummy or not, that is the question that you have to answer. Okay.
Okay.
Level 3, anyone needs manual? No? Arcade? Is Arcade here? You need manual? No? Okay, now I think I've got some questions in the chat group. Let me try to answer that. Let me get out this. Okay, all right, Alan, you're saying that I think the link in week 5 Thursday recording on eLeague is wrongly posted. It links to the week 4 Tuesday class. Really? Is this for the online face-to-face or the recording?
The face-to-face.
Oh, face-to-face wrongly posted okay? Oh, possible, huh? Okay, let me have a look at that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, now wonder you all are asking me these questions on dummy because I thought I remember I explained that the dummy activities to the class, you see? So then I was already, how come you still don't understand? Yeah, but it's probably the wrong posting lah. So go and have go and have a look later. Okay. I will take a look later and I'll repost it. And then the week 5 Tuesday recording is edited already, huh? I mean, like the pictures is out already. So I've already mentioned to Anna. So Alan, your question, your problem is the online face-to-face Thursday recording I posted wrongly, huh?
Yes, please check on that.
Okay, then. Any other questions? Okay. If that's so, that's done. Bye-bye.